Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a comprehensive examination of a brewing trade conflict that is shaking North America as of Wednesday, March 5th, 2025. At 2:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, today we are delving into a striking claim from Brown-Forman, the maker of Jack Daniel whiskey. Canada pulling United States alcohol off store shelves is worse than a tariff. This statement, reported by Reuters earlier today, comes amid escalating tensions sparked by President Donald Trump's decision to impose a 25% tariff on all non-energy goods and a 10% tariff on energy resources from Canada effective March 4, 2025. Canada and the United States share a trade relationship valued at $3.6 billion daily. According to Statistics Canada in 2023, with Canada sending 76% of its $557 billion annual exports south. Alcohol is a small but symbolic piece, $5 billion in United States exports to Canada in 2023, per the Distilled Spirits Council of the United States. Brown-Forman, based in Louisville, Kentucky, calls Canada's retail ban announced February 3, 2025, as part of a $155 billion retaliatory package a bigger blow than Trump's tariffs. Why? Tariffs raise costs, bans erase markets entirely. This conflict stems from Trump's February 1, 2025 executive order, delayed to March 4 after negotiations targeting Canada and Mexico with tariffs to curb fentanyl flows and migration. Canada countered with a phased retaliation $30 billion immediate, $125 billion later, including pulling United States alcohol from British Columbia stores by February 2025. Per News, Gov. BC. For Canada, with a $2.14 trillion gross domestic product International Monetary Fund, 2024, this protects sovereignty. For the United States, with a $26.9 trillion gross domestic product, it risks economic and diplomatic fallout. Using the latest data from Reuters government statements and industry reports, we will unpack why Brown-Forman sees Canada's ban as a devastating hit, how it harms the United States more than tariffs harm Canada, and why this escalates a trade war threatening both nations. This is not just about whiskey, it is about jobs, pride, and power. Let us dive into this high-stakes showdown. Let us start with Brown-Forman, the company behind Jack Daniel whiskey, because their claim sets the stage. On March 5, 2025, Reuters reported their stance. Canada pulling United States alcohol off store shelves is worse than a tariff. Brown-Forman, a Louisville-based giant with 5,700 employees worldwide, per their 2024 annual report, relies on exports for 60% of its $4.2 billion revenue. Canada, the United States' second-largest spirits market after Mexico, imported $1.2 billion in United States distilled spirits in 2023. Per the Distilled Spirits Council of the United States, Jack Daniel whiskey, a Tennessee icon, claims a hefty share. Trump's tariffs 25% on non-energy goods, effective March 4 add costs. A 750 milliliter bottle of Jack Daniel Old No. 7, retailing at $30 in Canada, faces a $7.50 tariff, raising it to $37.50. Per a Council on Foreign Relations estimate in February 2025. Brown-Forman could absorb this, passing half to consumers, half to margins, or raise prices, risking sales. Tariffs sting, but Canada's ban, enacted in British Columbia by February 2025 and spreading, per News, Gov. BC. Wipes out sales entirely. No bottles, no revenue. $1.2 billion vanishes if Canada-wide, per Distilled Spirits Council projections. The math is brutal. United States Spirits exports to Canada $5 billion in 2023 support 15,000 direct jobs, per the Distilled Spirits Council, with Kentucky's bourbon and Tennessee's whiskey leading. Brown-Forman employs 1,100 in Kentucky alone, 2024 report. Losing Canada could cut 300 jobs, per a National Post analysis on March 5, 2025. Tariffs reduce profits, say, 20% on a $1.2 billion market, or $240 million annually, but bans erase it all. Brown-Forman Chief Executive Officer Lawson Whiting told Reuters, "A tariff is a tax we can manage, a ban is a wall we cannot climb." Compare Canada's hit. United States alcohol imports $600 million in 2023. Per statistics, Canada faced Canada's 25% tariff, adding $150 million in costs. British Columbia's ban, targeting $200 million of that, swaps United States whiskey for Canadian brands like Crown Royal, boosting local distilleries with 2,000 jobs. Canadian Craft Distillers Alliance, 2024. Canada's $557 billion exports to the United States, 76% of its total, weather a $69 billion loss by 2028. British Columbia Ministry of Finance, January 2025, but alcohol is a fraction. Canada pivots. Asia-Pacific trade rose 12% to $66 billion by 2023. Global Affairs Canada, while Brown-Forman scrambles, United States consumers lose too. Jack Daniel fans in Kentucky median income $51,000. Tax Foundation, 2025. Pay $1,200 more annually from Tariffs. Peterson Institute, February 2025. Canada's ban forces Brown-Forman to redirect Mexico, takes $1.5 billion in United States spirits 2023, but saturation risks price drops. The United States' $26.9 trillion gross domestic product absorbs this. Canada's $2.14 trillion economy shrugs off liquor losses. Brown-Forman is right, bans crush more than tariffs tax. Now, let us explore Canada's response, because pulling United States alcohol off shelves is a masterstroke. Trump's tariffs, 25% on goods, 10% on energy, hit Canada's $557 billion exports to the United States hard, projecting a 5% drop by 2027. TD Economics, October 2024. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau countered on February 3, 2025, with $155 billion in retaliatory tariffs, $30 billion immediate, $125 billion phased, including British Columbia's alcohol ban, per news.gov.bc.ca. Brown-Forman calls this worse than tariffs, and Canada proves why. Alcohol is symbolic. Canada imports $600 million in United States spirits annually. Statistics Canada, 2023, a sliver of its $92 billion total imports from the United States, banning $200 million in British Columbia. Jack Daniel, Jim Beam costs United States distillers everything there, while Canada's $2 billion spirits industry. Canadian Craft Distillers Alliance, 2024 gains. Crown Royal, made in Gimli, Manitoba, employs 500. Its sales could rise 20% by 2026, adding 100 jobs, per a National Post projection on March 5, 2025. Tariffs raise United States whiskey prices, say, $37.50 versus $30, but bans replace them with Canadian options at $25, per market data. Jobs shift north. British Columbia's 124,000 projected job losses from Tariffs. Ministry of Finance, January 2025 ease as local distilleries scale up. Canada's 5.4% unemployment. Statistics Canada, 2023 holds tariffs threaten 0.6% gross domestic product drops. TD Economics, but alcohol bans bolster 2,000 distillery jobs. The United States loses 15,000 spirits jobs. Distilled Spirits Council, 2023 shrink with Kentucky's $5 billion bourbon trade. 2023. losing $1.2 billion to Canada's ban if nationwide, per industry estimates. Diversification accelerates. Canada's comprehensive and progressive agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership trades $66 billion 2023 could hit $100 billion by 2030. Fraser Institute 2024 with Japan's $5 billion imports doubling. The Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement with the European Union $92 billion eyes $150 billion Canadian Chamber of Commerce, November 2024. United States tariffs $1.3 trillion in Revenue Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget push Canada elsewhere. Alcohol bans amplify this, cutting United States leverage. Canada's dollar down 8% since September 2024 Council on Foreign Relations. February 2025, AIDS exports United States consumers pay more, Canada earns more. For the United States, Canada's ban is a gut punch. Brown-Forman nails it, tariffs tax, bans destroy. The United States Spirits Industry $25 billion in 2023 Distilled Spirits Council exports $5 billion, with Canada at $1.2 billion. Losing British Columbia's $200 million is a start. A Canada-wide ban erases $1.2 billion to 5% of the market overnight. Kentucky's bourbon, $5 billion annually, employs 22,000 Kentucky Distillers Association 2024. 300 jobs vanish per Brown-Forman scale per National Post on March 5th. Consumers suffer. United States median income $71,067 at the 60th percentile tax foundation 2025. Faces $1,200 tariff costs Peterson Institute, February 2025. Without Jack Daniel in Canada, Brown-Forman floods United States market's price drops loom, squeezing $68,000 distillery wages Bureau of Labor Statistics, 2024. Inflation 0.8% from tariffs Brookings, February 2025. Climbs with Canada's $155 billion retaliation hitting 3% tax policy center, October 2024. United States exports $652 billion to Canada, Mexico 2023, lose $30 billion short-term Peterson Institute. Socially, it bites. Kentucky $51,000 median income sees distillery towns falter. Tennessee's 1,100 Brown-Forman jobs 2024 report risk cuts 300 lost equals $20 million in wages per local estimates. Trump's $1.3 trillion tariff haul shrinks alcohol bans dodge his tax, unlike Canada's $69 billion hit British Columbia Ministry of Finance. United States Pride 53% see a weak union NPR. PBS News, Marist, 2025, takes a hit as Canada thrives. Canada turns the tables. Trump's tariffs 25% on goods threaten $69 billion by 2028 British Columbia Ministry of Finance, but banning United States alcohol flips it. British Columbia's $200 million ban boosts Crown Royal 500 jobs in Manitoba could grow to 600 by 2026. National Post, March 5th. Canada's $2 billion spirits industry Canadian Craft Distillers Alliance 2024 rises 20% growth by 2026 adds 400 jobs. Innovation surges. Canada's $36 billion research and development spend. World Bank 2023 could hit $64 billion by 2028 Fraser Institute goal, fueled by tariff pressure. Alberta's $100 billion artificial intelligence hub 2024 gains engineers stay, cutting 94,000 immigrants. Statistics Canada 2023 to 50,000 by 2027. Trade pivots $66 billion to Asia Pacific. $92 billion to Europe 2023, reach $250 billion by 2030 Canadian Chamber of Commerce. Canada's $2.14 trillion gross domestic product grows tariffs for self-reliance, not surrender. The United States stumbles. Trump's tariffs $1.3 trillion projected Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget lose steam with Canada's bans. United States exports $652 billion to Canada. Mexico drop $30 billion. Peterson Institute. Brown-Forman's $1.2 billion loss 5% of $25 billion spirits Distilled Spirits Council ripples. Kentucky's 22,000 jobs shrink. Inflation 3% with Retaliation Tax Policy Center erodes $71,067 Incomes Tax Foundation. Canada's $250 billion trade pivot 2030 weakens United States clout $916 billion defense Pentagon. 2025 can tee off said economic bleed. Brown-Forman is right bans Trump tariffs in pain. In closing, Brown-Forman hits the mark. Canada pulling United States alcohol off shelves outstrips Trump's tariffs in damage. Canada's $2.14 trillion economy bends, but rises $200 million bans boost to billion-dollar spirits, paving $250 billion trade by 2030. Canada turns tariffs into triumph. The United States reaps chaos. This trade war proves bans cut deeper than taxes.